Morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're welcome to another new month altogether. Wishing you the best of this new month and God's protection and prosperity as you continue to, of course, promote the cause of humanity and equity and justice. Yes, in today's political rumbles, we have, of course, on board the anchor remains Chigozie Ndibo. Welcome to News Inquest TV. Yes, one of the highlights of today's discussion borders on, of course, yesterday the former governor of Imo State and the serving senator in this 10th Assembly, of course, in the person of Rochas Okorocha, the Osimiri one of Ndibo, declared officially his interest in running, of course, in joining the train in this presidential race comes 2023. And of course, we are going to look into most of the, of course, silent point he raised while being, of course, interviewed by Mr. Shegu of Channel TV on some issues bordering on, of course, his integrity and his service to the Imo lights, as, of course, when he occupies the governor's office. And of course, in comparison to the position of the Asiwaju Bola Ahmad Tinubu of Lagos State, of course, who is the presumed or the self-imposed kingmaker, and comparing these two individuals and what really, of course, in terms of competence and the service and the political will, of course, you can read that from their statements. And I would like you to also, of course, make your observations on the comment section, like our videos. Please do not watch this video without liking it, without subscribing to it, and I would appreciate when you do so. Coming down to this evening rumbles of today's edition, Rochas Okorocha has clearly, of course, made his position known. It is no longer disputable that he has indicated interest in occupying the seats of power comes 2023, and should, of course, the electorate gives him such opportunity, and conditionally, if should Nigeria, of course, remains an entity comes 2023, despite, of course, what is happening. And should the election hold, what exactly will be the outcome, the permutations and the indices, of course, we can rely on in, of course, predicting or presuming who might likely, of course, clinch to the seat of power. In the course of interaction with the Rochas Okorocha by the journalist of Channel TV, Mr. Shehu, he asked, of course, the Rochas, how could he, of course, exonerate himself from so many allegations of corruption levied against him, Of course, there was a suit that was filed yesterday against him bordering on corruption and embezzlement of public funds. He made a statement in defense of himself, of course, that those allegations, of course, has no clear basis. It was mainly sponsored propaganda to tarnish his image and his chances of course, becoming the president of the Nigerian state. He said the lack, of course, basic realities and could not be substantiated. If those who accuse him has any evidence to that, they should be able to, of course, make their case rather than the media trial and the false propaganda being promoted by some interest group who, of course, sees him as a very serious threat to their ambition or, of course, likewise, or standing a better chance to win the, of course, the presidential race, especially I imagine as the flag bearer of the APC party, where we have the Jagabans and the others who are yet to declare or they make their interests known to the public. Yes, and bordering on his service to the Imolites, he made it very clear that, of course, I have to commend him, and though I have some reservations about him, yes, there are so many abandoned projects, especially in terms of road network, that he couldn't complete. And I understood the challenges, but the fact remains that we cannot, I personally cannot deny the fact that his impact was felt to some extent, especially considering the, of course, the revenue available to the state. I will, of course, say he did about 60%, and the fact that during his tenure, his 2 terms as the governor of Imo State, yes, of course, he proclaimed free education from primary to tertiary level. Yes, it's a course which he maintained all through, and I have to commend him for that. When he was asked question, how do you think he could tackle the issue of insecurity, he made a silent point, which is, of course, should be a very important focus for everyone who will want to have, of course, occupy the seat of power comes 2023. He said, the Boko Haram you are seeing today are the children that were neglected, that was not given the opportunity to access education 30 years ago. They become, of course, constituting nuisance to the society. That he has a foundation which have run barely close to 3 decades now, 30 years, across the entire length and breadth of the Nigerian state, which is, of course, not deniable. You could be cited in Kano, Sokoto, Bauchi, across the entire region, and I must applaud him for that. He did that as individual, and he has maintained this cause for close to 30 years, and that is an act of humanitarian service. And he said, if an individual can accomplish such feat, of course, having over 25,000 pupils across this country which he caters for, feeds on daily basis, most of which have turned out to become responsible citizens, graduates, doctors, in all fields of endeavor, engineers. He has contributed to, of course, giving such people hope and a future. And if being given the opportunity, will of course, with enormous resources available to the state, Nigerian state, he could of course ensure that every child has a right to education, which is the basic, which is the bedrock of civilization. Yes, of course, I do agree with him in respect to that, and because I have evidence, I have people around my community who also benefited from that scholarship scheme. Yes, it is reality, and I don't think beside him, apart from him, no other political elite has done such great feat in Nigeria. Even in the past and present, uh, political elites have not done such. In fact, no governor of Nigerian state has declared such in recent times. Education, free education from primary to tertiary institution. There are evidences to that. I can't deny that. And could that be, of course, enough reason why he should be given, of course, the opportunity? Haven't seen his antecedents. Yes, he said he was Rochas before he became the president, before he became the governor, which I quite agree with him. He has made his money. Of course, he was into business and real estate, of course, business, another business that he broke even. Of course, he was a notable billionaire in dollars before aspiring to be the governor of Imo State. So, saying that he, of course, embezzled Imo State money could be somewhat distraction, and if people could substantiate for that, of course, I am not exonerating the fact that every average Nigerian politician is, of course, have some level of corruption around him or within him. And having said that, what can we consider at this time as the way forward? And the approach, the way he handled the issue of Boko Haram was very interesting. Unlike the position of Jagaban, Jagaban in his approach was more or less the military language, the military tactics. We are going to go after them and make sure we kill all of them. This is a statement Jagaban made. I said, wow, is this man, does he have a military blood running in him? But the approach of Rochas, he said, he is going to ensure that every child, how could in Nigeria we have over 14 point something million children out of school? He said he's going to bring them back to the classroom. And of course, rather than using over trillions of naira in fighting or combating this crime, social crime, we can save the future by, of course, ensuring that this future, we give them a future which they can believe, a future which, of course, they will be proud of, and contribute meaningfully to the society and become more responsible citizens to themselves and to the society and to humanity at large. He said he's going to return them back rather than using the instrument of force or coercion. He's going to have a long-lasting solution to the insurgency and insecurity. The heights of insecurity, especially ravaging the entire northern region, which, of course, most of which is informed by the number of of course, illiterates within those regions. And he said he's going to bring them back to school and give them a sense of belonging. And he also made mention categorically that he's going to create, of course, tailor our education system to address our local challenges and build the economic hub of prosperity for the youth. His own state or his own administration will focus on the youth, on ensuring that jobs are created for the youth to engage them, which is very fundamental and very, of course, sensitive. The youths, the graduates are roaming the streets, becoming objects of mockery, becoming who could not longer take care of the cattle for themselves, not because they lack the competence, not because they lack the acumen. Of course, it's very unfortunate, but for the very fact they found themselves within the corporation called Nigeria. Outside the shores of Nigeria, the youths are doing exceedingly marvelously well in every field of endeavor. They might, of course, engage themselves. Yeah, there are evidence to that. If I happen to have a better environment, you can't imagine what I could have accomplished. I haven't been held down by these forces of darkness. But I know that there is an end to every siege, and the siege for me is over. I am looking forward to the possibility of not just reaching I myself, but of course seeing that other youths around who has better prospects, we've given equal opportunity, given the enabling environment, of course, to hit the world and to contribute meaningfully to the society. Do we just believe, of course, an average politician based on what they said? Because they have, most of them have sweet coated mouths. They are very, what will I say, very eloquent and vocal. Could we trust them for their words? Or do we still, of course, live in such level of uncertainty because haven't heard from these two gentlemen or of course or politicians what could be the way forward for Nigeria? If you're asked or left to make your choice, not based on ethnic sentiments, not based on religious sentiments, but based on intellectual capacity, based on the evidence we can see. Yes, I believe Rochas have touched lives across the length and breadth of the Nigerian state. Yes, most graduates, most people who become responsible doctors, engineers benefited from his foundation, which no other political elite has replicated as far as this current system is concerned. Could you consider that as a good scorecard for giving him the opportunity to take the Nigerian state? When he was asked, how did you think you could meet up with these expectations? He said, forget about those. The problem of Nigeria is mismanagement of their resources. The Nigeria is so endowed that it's needless to talk about how he could fund. of course, the free education he intends to declare from primary to tertiary institution. That Nigeria is so blessed, is so endowed. It's only that unfortunate we don't have administrators, we don't have leadership. There is a vacuum in the leadership space, which of course could not be denied. That is the reality. But the fundamental issue is in these current realities. Could the Rochas Okorocha surmount all the myriads of problems bedeviling the Nigerian state? And of course, as he rightly cited, that his fundamental focus is to reconcile the different regions and create an enabling environment that will engender prosperity for all as sundry and promote coexistence as a people with a vision, with a focus, of course, driven by nationalism. How true could this be? With that, of course, back down the agitations of the restoration of the Biafran state. Could that be enough to convince an average IPOB to drop his agitation of the restoration of the Biafran state? That is fundamental. Please, I would like to have your comments, of course, or your observations or reservations in respect to this, or the comment section. Please don't forget to comment on this issue, and by so doing you give us a better opportunity or insight of what is the public view or opinion about the current political rumbles. Yes, we have not seen an end to this drama. Of course, it's just unfolding. This is just the morning of the morning. Of course, the morning of the evening political rumbles is just unfolding. I may want to say good morning to the political space. More intriguing and exciting, of course, and more dramatic experience awaits us while we keep our fingers crossed. Yes, yesterday I learned that the former Senate President, of course, will also be declaring his intention in the person of Saraki, Bukola Saraki, and his counterpart, who was also a Senate President, Anyim Pius, will be joining the race in a matter of weeks or matter of days. What should be the focus and what will be the drive? What could the Nigerian populace or electorate consider in the quest for the Buhari's successor or replacement? Until we meet next time, remain blessed and have a great day.